Season number 2 is now underway here in the Chicago White Sox franchise here on MLB The Show 25. We have gotten through our opening 9-game road stretch, currently sitting at a record of 3-6, which in a vacuum isn't great, but we have started this year away from home against 3 World Series contenders. The Tigers, Dodgers, and Astros are all very, very good. You know it's a good group of teams when the one who had the least amount of wins last year was the Dodgers. So today we've got our home opener against Minnesota. Really hard schedule through the month of April. Just because our road stretch is over doesn't mean it gets much easier. Teams like the Tigers, the Red Sox, the Orioles, the Brewers, all on the schedule here during the month of April. The schedule makers were not very kind to us in terms of determining who we would get early in the year. There will not be a wheel spin today, since normally we do that at the beginning of each month. We did do that for the last episode, and we got really lucky with Luis Robert and Jonathan Cannon, both of them landing on boosted, meaning much of their important attributes are going to go up for the month. Robert has played like a 96 overall up to this point, and he will get to stay this high through the rest of April. Jonathan Cannon, meanwhile, in 2 starts has been kind of up and down, much like last year. I upped both of their potentials as well. That way they don't regress during the month of April. They certainly should not regress, and I don't want this to hurt their long-term development. We also did 2 wheel spins for every team across the league. That's only something we're going to do during the month of April, but I wanted to give the other teams an opportunity to get some action with the wheel. In terms of other positive standouts, Brian Ramos is raking the ball, but he already has 4 errors through 9 games, and he's been the DH a couple of times as well, so his defense has been a mess. I think Jesus Sanchez has played pretty well so far. Kyle Schwarber looks good, but overall the offense has, as kind of expected, not been particularly impressive. As for the pitching, Drew Thorpe's ERA starts with the number 9. His second start did not go overly well. The pitching really has not been good up to this point, although I am excited to see more Prelander Berroa. We're going to pitch with him in the home opener. Reliever turned starter, was not good in his first start, but it is the first game he's pitched since 2024, so it's understandable. So let's hop into our first home game of the year. We will be hosting the Minnesota Twins. 3-game set against them. The Twins are also 3-6. They have not been all that good to start this year, and they've got their number 5 starter on the mound, that being Zach Little. So this could be an offensive, high-scoring style game, and obviously we've got some major threats in this lineup, as does Minnesota, with Byron Buxton coming off probably the best year of his career. Royce Lewis, of course, is fantastic. Carlos Correa. And they've got some good young talent as well. Emmanuel Rodriguez made the team out of spring training. So it should be a fun one here. Baseball returns to the South Side. Our first home game in 2026. The seats surprisingly filling up quite a bit, even though our team has only won like 100 games over the last 2 years. As for our team projections, we got to see these in the last episode, but they think Douglas Cato is going to finish the year with a 5 WAR. I mean, it's kind of hard to do that when you're not on the big league team to begin with, and I just don't see a world where he gets it that high to begin with, even if we do call him up at some point during the year. Definitely excited to watch Prelander Berroa, though, his second career big league start. He's performed well as a reliever in the past, obviously coming off of Tommy John. It's an adjustment period for him, but I thought he looked pretty good in the spring. As here's a look at both lineups, and here's a look at Prelander Berroa. He's a young guy, only 25 years old, hailing from the Dominican Republic. Not to necessarily say he will be our next Bryce Wilson. Granted, Bryce Wilson just got popped for steroids in the last episode, so maybe we don't want him to be. But a guy who once was a strong reliever, turning him into a good starter. I think there's a long-term future in our organization for Berroa as he strikes out Nathaniel Lowe to get things started. Marcell Ozuna signed with the Twins in the offseason. He had a really good 2025 with the Atlanta Braves as he will draw a 2-out walk. Minnesota gives themselves a runner on base, and that'll bring up the cleanup hitter, former number 1 overall draft pick Royce Lewis, who skies it into center. Luis Robert does not have to move too far. He will get over to it. Pretty good opening inning for Berroa. He allows the 1 walk, but no further damage done. As for Zach Little, his first start of the year also was not particularly good. He allowed 4 runs in 4 2/3 innings, which I think is the exact same of what Berroa did in his first start of the year. Emmanuel Rivera will get us started, only hitting 195 so far this year. as Rogers makes a great play at second. Throw to first is in time. What a scoop there at second base by Brendan Rogers for the first out of the inning. Kyle Schwarber up next. He's been productive so far as a White Sox, but he goes down to the high fastball. Swung at that one a little bit too late, and we will move into the second. MLB The Show's Sim Demon Matt Wallner is up. Off of Baroa's leg. Will roll over to Teal. Throw to first is in time. Baroa putting his body on the line. Taking one for the team because that would have easily been a base hit if it didn't deflect off of him. He's a little bit shaken up, but luckily the youngster is a tough cookie, so he's going to ultimately stay in the game. Bottom two, Brian Ramos leads things off. He chases the high fastball. That was not the pitch to swing yet, my friend. Kyle Teal now up. His hit streak went as high as 18 games, ending early in the last episode as he misses the splitter. A few punch-outs early in this one for Little as we move into the third, still no score. Brendan Rogers up for Minnesota had that great defensive play earlier, and now he shoots this one down the right field line. Finally, a base hit. We have not had any from either team so far. As Rogers will slide into second, he makes it with a double, and Minnesota has a runner aboard here with one away. We'll see at the top of the order can bring him in. 2-1 count here for Nathaniel Lowe with two away, and this one is roped into right. Sanchez at the track will make the grab. 3 scoreless innings for Prelander Baroa. He's pitching quite well so far in this game, but our offense has had nothing going. No runners for Chicago up to this point. The rookie, Cody Hosey, only hitting 120 so far. Looks to change that, and he does. Leadoff single into center. It's certainly been an adjustment period for Hosey, our first-round Rule 5 draft pick. But he singles to lead off the bottom of the third, as that'll bring up Charles LeBlanc, who's also not been very good this year, and that will likely continue. On the ground, could be 2, but instead, they get nothing. So Charles LeBlanc should have grounded into a double play, but Correa wanted to get the out at second, and that set everything back. Montgomery to third. Now this should be 2, and it is. I'm a little surprised they didn't go for the triple play. It would have been hard to get, but I think they could have. So after all that, there's 2 away. Runner is at third, though, for Emmanuel Rivera, and he draws a walk. 2 on, 2 away. Big spot in this game for Kyle Schwarber. We'll see if the big fella can look to give us some runs as he belts it over to third, and it is caught on the liner by Royce Lewis. So the White Sox get 4 separate runners in that inning. We did so, though, only with 1 hit, as it's still scoreless going into the fourth. Middle of the order up for Minnesota. Marcell Ozuna goes down looking on the sinker. Very nice pitch by Baroa. That'll bring up Carlos Correa here with 2 away and a full count. Baroa looking to keep things rolling, but that one is low in the dirt, and it goes for ball 4. The Twins with a late base runner, and we'll see if they can finally put some runs on the board. Wallner rips it down the line. It is just foul. That was a close call. If that ball had kept rolling all the way to the wall, I think there's a good chance Correa could have scored. 2-2. Wallner up the middle. Ramos deflects it, but there will be no play at first. So the Twins end up with a base hit anyway. And they've got 2 on, 2 away. Big spot here for the rookie, Emmanuel Rodriguez, who was one of the most dynamic power hitters of AAA last year. And he sends it high and deep into center. Robert at the track cannot make the play. One hops off the wall. 1 run scores. Second looks to join. And he is safe. A 2-run double for Emmanuel Rodriguez. And the Minnesota Twins strike first as they lead it 2-0. The catcher Ryan Jeffers now up for Minnesota behind 1-2. Got him looking on the fastball. Baroa lets up a pair off the double by Rodriguez as we will move into the bottom of the fourth. The White Sox find themselves down 2-0. Lou Bob will get things started, and he sends this one into left. That goes for a leadoff single. 109 off the bat, and that pitch was barely in the zone. Not an easy one to hit, but Luis Robert absolutely crushed it, continuing what was a phenomenal final few months of his 2025, fully carrying over to 2026. Full count for Brian Ramos, swinging a miss on the sweeper. That pitch had some filthy movement. The swing and miss stuff from Little has been quite strong so far as he gets Sanchez to chase on the low splitter. And that's 4 scoreless for Zach Little as we will move into the fifth. and we're going to make a pitching change. I don't want to put too much on Baroa's plate. Keep in mind, this is only his second career start. He's used to being a reliever. He's coming off Tommy John surgery. I think he pitched a pretty good game, but we want to be smart with how we manage him. Hayden Wesneski is in to make his White Sox debut. He has not pitched in the majors since 2024. As Nathaniel Lowe goes down looking on the circle change. Not a bad first inning back in the bigs for Wesneski, who was acquired from the Astros in the James Karinchak trade. 2-1 here for Cody Hosey leading off the fifth as Little deflects it with his glove. Throw to first, not in time. Cody Hosey 2 for 2. The White Sox again start the inning with an early base runner. That'll bring up Charles LeBlanc, who reached base his first time up in a very unconventional way. This time it's a little bit more normal. Single into center, and we've got 2 on, nobody out. Looking strong here in the bottom of the fifth. The back end of the order looking productive. Colson Montgomery has not had a very good season so far. He had the bad double play earlier, and now he goes down looking. Montgomery did not have a good spring, and it has not been encouraging to see his struggles continue. Interesting timing for a pitching change, but Little's day is done after the punch-out. And I guess the thought process is similar to that of when we took out Baroa, in the sense that, this was one of their better pitchers, Joe Ryan, Bailey Ober, Pablo Lopez. They'd probably trust him and keep him in here, but they don't have that level of trust in Zach Little, and they will go to the bullpen with Cole Sands making his 6th appearance at the year. 2 runs allowed in 4 innings so far. 2 on, 1 away. Emmanuel Rivera goes down looking on the fastball, low and just barely in the zone. Big at bat now for Kyle Schwarber. Hasn't done much today. Up the middle. That one goes for a single. We're going to send the runner. Hosey will score. LeBlanc is safe at third. And it's 2-1 White Sox. Kyle Schwarber brings home another run. And the White Sox are on the board with a chance for more. I don't know if there's another guy we would want up here over Luis Robert. Pops it up into right center. That one certainly will not have enough carry. Byron Buxton will make the play. And Minnesota allows one, but I guess it could have been a little worse for them. It's nice that we're on the board, but still struggling with runners on base. Into the 6th, we're going to keep Wesneski in the game. Marcelo Zuna lofts this one into right. Sanchez after it, and that one will one-hop off the wall. 101 off the bat. Ozuna hit that one hard. Wouldn't be the first time. And he finds himself in scoring position, running quickly there. We've seen him go fast back when he was Ozuna from the Braves. But now he's Ozuna from the Twins. 2 away. Wallner into foul territory. LeBlanc is under it. He will make the play. 2 scoreless innings for Hayden Wesneski. Really passed the eye test here in his White Sox debut. Only struck out 1, but he only let up 1 hit. No runs as well. An innings eater. He can go multiple at a time. Ramos goes down on the cutter. Good pitch by Cole Sands, who will stay in the game for Minnesota. That'll bring up Kyle Teal. He will take a walk, and Teal finds himself on base with 1 away. Another switch for the Twins. They'll go back to the pen and bring in the lefty Jose Suarez. The former Angel is not allowed a run yet this season, and we'll see if he can keep it going. 3 1/3 scoreless, as it will be Corey Julks coming on off the bench for Jesus Sanchez. I think that's partly why they brought him in here, because of the matchup with Sanchez. But we're going to sub in Julks, and that decision proves to be a good one. Off the wall in left center. Teal looks to score from first. It looks like he will, and this game is tied at 2. Julks was a little banged up coming into this one, so an interesting decision to have him come up and hit, but it ends up paying off. The White Sox knocked this one up. A pinch hit RBI double for the lefty masher, Corey Julks, who's fired up. Cody Hosey, 2 hits already in this game, looking for a third, and he will. Good to see Hosey played well. Again, he was only hitting 120 coming into the game. I think he had 3 hits all year and has now doubled his total here in this one game. LeBlanc gets hit, and the bases are loaded. So in other words, the inning is over. How will we screw this one up? Monasterio 3-2 on the ground. Should be a double play, and it is. Inning over. Nobody scores. Extremely on brand. We brought Monasterio in off the bench because he has the highest clutch rating on our team, and that was pretty unclutch, I must say. Kyle Nelson out of the bullpen for the 7th. The lefty has been a very positive addition so far. 4 1/3 scoreless innings, part of the Andrew Vaughn trade from the Diamondbacks, as Ryan Jeffers launches this one into left, and that one is not coming back. LeBlanc didn't even need to watch that one fly. He knew it was gone. 3rd home run of the year for Jeffers, nearly 450 feet. So Minnesota regains their lead after allowing a pair in the 5th and 6th innings, respectively. Byron Buxton now only hitting 171. That one's going to go for a hit, though. The outfield was playing deep there, so it works out nicely for Buxton, and so that'll bring up Nathaniel Lowe. I do like the matchup here, though, with fellow lefty Kyle Nelson on the bump, but Lowe does hit lefties fairly well. He doesn't hit this ball particularly hard, but it has a chance to go for a hit. Ramos will make the play, though, but a solid inning for the Twins as Ryan Jeffers mashes a solo shot to put the Twins on top 3-2. Justin Topa will come in for Minnesota here in the bottom of the 7th. More like Tapa because the Twins are, on top currently. No, that one was bad. Really bad. Emmanuel Rivera, though, singles into right to get things started. And the leadoff man is aboard for the White Sox, and the strongest part of the order due up. Kyle Schwarber ropes that one foul. On the play, though, Justin Topa appeared to have hurt his wrist, and they think it could be a serious injury for him. The final diagnosis was a fractured wrist. It'll put him on the 10-day injured list, keeping him out at least for the next month or so. And Jorge Alcala will come out of the bullpen to replace him. He hasn't allowed any runs yet this year, but is still tasked with Schwarber. Checks his swing. Umpire says he did go around for strike 3. That'll bring up Luis Robert. Looking to get another hit here, and he will. Up the middle, single into center. 2 on, 1 away. Big spot in this game for the White Sox as they look to tie it, or who knows, maybe even take the lead, although that might be too much to ask with these goofballs. Full count for Ramos, swing and a miss. Brian Ramos 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts. It has not been his day. Kyle Teal into the opposite field. That's going to score at least 1, maybe 2. This game is tied at 3. That's Rivera. Robert rounding third. Play at the plate is not in time. 2-run double for Kyle Teal. And the Chicago White Sox lead it for the first time this afternoon, as it's now 4-3. Kyle Teal comes up big, and now Chicago is in the driver's seat. Corey Julks strikes out on the circle change. Not a bad inning, though. Minnesota gets 1. We say what you can do, we can do better. 2-run double for Teal, and it's time for the back end of the pen to slam the door. Joe Ross will come in for the 8th. He's been pretty solid this year. 6 innings, 2 earned runs allowed. Hard to complain with that. Carlos Correa up with 2 away. And this one is singled into right. So the tying run is aboard here for Minnesota. Big spot here for Matt Wallner. Wallner, of course, really hits righties well, as the count is even 2-2. And he swings and misses at the slider that gets away. Wallner over to first. He is safe. That was such a bad pitch to swing at. So bad that it gets by Teal, and Wallner is safe. 2 on, 2 away. Emmanuel Rodriguez is driven in a pair in this one. Puts it on the ground to third. Jose will just tag the runner, and the White Sox get out of the jam. The Twins leave 2 runners aboard as it remains 4-3, and we go into the bottom of the 8th. Out of the pen for Minnesota is Johan Duran, formerly their closer. But he has really regressed over the last couple of years. ERA in the 3s in 2024 and 25, which isn't bad in a vacuum, but certainly not as good as it once was for him. ERA this year currently in the 7s. LeBlanc whips on the fastball. He was clearly overpowered by that pitch, clocking in at 102. Andrew Monasterio draws a walk. I think he's got the best eye on the team. Maybe not a natural hitter, but I think he's a good all-around ball player. His plate discipline arguably his best strength. Rivera into foul territory. It is caught! What a catch! Nathaniel Lowe laying out and making an incredible diving catch. How did he make this play? Holy guacamole! Into the ninth now, it'll be Penn Murphy who comes in to get the save for the White Sox. Our closer had a great season last year. He was terrific over the final 3 months, but he's already blown a couple saves so far this year. Ryan Jeffers homered earlier, and this one is hit well. Deep into left center. LeBlanc and Robert at the track, at the wall. It's gone! Lightning strikes twice. Ryan Jeffers ties it for the Twins. His 4th of the year, his 2nd in as many at-bats. And Murphy has already blown his 3rd save of the year, and we're only like 2 weeks into the season. He only blew 7 last year. So Minnesota ties it at 4. Here is Lowe over to third. Posey with the backhanded grab. But a successful inning for Minnesota. They keep the game alive with a solo shot by Jeffers. Brock Stewart out at the pen for Minnesota here in the bottom of the ninth. His ERA sits at 18. He's allowed 2 runs per inning. All we would need is 1, though, to win as Schwarber gets plunked to start the inning. That's one way to get the winning base runner aboard. Luis Robert goes down on the fastball, a healthy hack. He swung really hard at that one. Brian Ramos now 0 for 4, 4 punch-outs, but he gets a piece of this one. Into right center field. Wallner at the track, at the wall, he misses it! Off the wall! Ramos slides safe into second. Schwarber safe into third. And Chicago has 2 runners in scoring position with 1 away. The hit streak up to 10 for Brian Ramos. I would intentionally walk. Kyle Teal here sets a force out at every base. They waltz as he puts it on the ground. The throw home. Not in time. Schwarber is safe, and the White Sox win it. A walk-off ground out for Kyle Schwarber. It maybe wasn't pretty, but it drives in the run. It gets the job done, and Chicago, a walk-off winner here in the home opener. We had to have lost 3 or 4 games by walk-offs during our opening 9 games of the year. We haven't gotten a chance to get a walk-off because we've only played on the road. So fittingly, the first home game of the year, we do exactly that. A 5-4 victory against the Tins, which is their new name because we took the W away from them. It was kind of the tale of 2 for the offense, who started off really slowly. We didn't get a base runner until the 3rd. We didn't get a run until the 5th, but we really played well over the last few innings. Jeffers, of course, homered for Minnesota, but otherwise they really didn't hit the ball that well. We had 15 base runners, 12 hits, 3 walks. That is a lot. Could have used some more run support and some more clutch hits early, but we made plays when we needed to. Barreau, I thought, had a solid start. The bullpen was pretty good. Brian Ramos bruised his foot. I have no clue when that would have happened. Like, they never told me he got injured. Regardless, though, it's probably going to keep him out for a day or 2, but nothing more than that. So I think we're going to simulate a couple of weeks. I kind of want to play Boston. The Red Sox have been really good so far this year, so we'll wrap up the Minnesota series. 3 at home against Detroit, 3 on the road at Toronto, and then 3 at Milwaukee. It's a pretty hard schedule. We know Detroit is really good. Milwaukee obviously has lost a lot from last year. Luis Rengifo is gone. Bryce Terania is suspended. Jackson Chourio is hurt, but they're still really good. So here in this second game against the Twins, we're down 4-1. 13-game hitting streak on the line for Luis Robert. He has a hit in every game this year. Well, until now. Broken bat, grounded to first. Minnesota takes it by the final score of 4-1. Not much going for us offensively. And another game where Drew Thorpe pitches quite well, and the rest of the team lets him down. 7 innings of 1-run ball for Thorpe, who had 6 scoreless as well. And the bullpen kind of blew it. They let up 3 in the 8th off of the 3-run shot by Royce Lewis. It was Joe Ross who allowed the homer, although none of those 3 runs were earned off of an assist by one of our better defensive players, Kyle Teal. Ross still allowed the play. He still deserves some blame, but the defense let us down, and obviously the offense was uninspiring. 1 run, 5 hits, RBI double for Schwarber. So we ended up winning the last game, though, against Minnesota, but we've lost the first 2 against the Tigers and are probably going to get swept. Hitting streak on the line for Brian Ramos. It currently sits at 13, as this one is on the ground. Should be a double play, and it will. A pretty stress-free series for the Tigers. We only scored 2 runs across these 3 games. They added some insurance with a Colt Keith 2-run bomb to win it 8-1. The pitching was good in the other 2 games, though. We only let up 2 the first time around. We only let up 3 in the second game. But Prelander Baroa really struggled in this matchup. We're now 0-6 against the Tigers this year, but we are 5-4 against everybody else. We only have 2 more series against the Tigers this year, so if we keep this pace, who knows, maybe we won't be so bad. Tarek Skubal got the start, and he pitched like Tarek Skubal. We have been shut down by him twice now. Schwarber did go deep in this game. His 7th home run of the year in just 15 games. That's pretty remarkable. Akil Baddoo was banged up in AAA. He is now healthy, and that is relevant because we're going to be calling him up to the majors. He struggled in spring training, but he's played pretty well so far, and I cannot say the same for Colson Montgomery. He has been just dreadful. 136, OPS is barely in the 400s, and he wasn't good in the spring to begin with. He had a small leash. He hasn't done well. He's got to go to the minors and figure this out. We split the first 2 games against Toronto, and we now lead 2-1. Bottom 9, 2 on. The winning run is at first. The tying run is at scoring position. The problem is Andres Jimenez might be the worst offensive player in the league. He was horrific last year and has been probably worse this year. Liner to third. Jose makes the grab. And so the Sox win the game and the series. Of our last 4 series, we've won 3 of them. 6-6 in our last 12. That is not too bad. Schwarber goes deep again, his 8th of the year. 7 innings of 1-run ball for Cannon. His ERA barely above 2. Starting to look a lot more like a 93 overall. Trey Yusavage, the youngster, pitched well for Toronto, but he falls to 0-3. Now against the Brewers, tied at 5 here in the last game. We split the first 2. Bases are loaded, and we're going to bring Joe Ross into the game, replacing Inoli Paredes. Ross has been a little inconsistent this year. I was hoping it would be more level, given that he's supposed to be one of our most consistent relievers, but he hasn't been bad this year. As Kiner Falefa hits it into left, that should bring home a pair, and the Brewers lead it 7-2. That was a good pitch. Outside parted the zone, but Kiner Falefa is able to bloop it into left, as Milwaukee now up 7-5. That's a wild pitch. Bishop lets it go. Runner heads for third, and he's out of there! Kyle Teal guns him down. That was Hoskins trying to leg it over to third base, but it does not work out. Great play by Kyle Teal, trying to make up for the error he had recently. Kyle Schwarber, by the way, has gone deep twice more. He's up to 10 home runs. 10! We played like 20 games. How is that possible? As the count is full, missed the first 2 pitches, but has been able to work the count back up to make it full against Trevor McGill. And he swings and misses at the fastball, clocking in at 100. Big pitch by McGill. We will not get the 3rd homer for Schwarber, but we do have a chance to potentially come back in this game. Luis Robert brings home a run at 7-6. Lou Bob in scoring position. Charles LeBlanc up for the White Sox. His OPS starts with the number 3 this year, so I'm not overly confident. As he hits it, slams the bat in frustration. I have no idea where the ball is, and it looks like it is caught by the shortstop. The Brewers win this game 7-6. They do win the series. Pretty good game by the offense. We scored at least 5 runs in all 3 games against Milwaukee, but this time around it was the pitching who let us down. The bullpen was not great in this game at all. Our starting pitcher did pretty good. 6 innings, only 2 runs allowed, but the bullpen blew it. Would anyone like to take any guess at who started this game? It was, surprise, surprise, Drew Thorpe, who pitched well once more and still does not get the win. I mean, what else is there to say? At least, though, the offense actually did give him run support. 6 runs should be enough to win the game, but the bullpen allowed 5 runs in the 7th. Brandon Woodruff with a good start as well. Bullpen nearly lost it, though, for Milwaukee as Jesus Sanchez pulls a hammy. I feel like him and Corey Julks have gotten injured like every other game this year. It's been nothing serious for either of them, but those 2 have been banged up seemingly all season. So we are going to make a move going into this series against the Red Sox. I thought about calling up Douglas Cato, who has played well in AAA, hitting .281. But he only has 57 minor league at-bats. I don't think I'm quite ready to do that yet. Nick Maton, of course, had a solid season for his last year. Did not play well in the spring, but he's raking in AAA. Already 4 home runs and 70 at-bats, hitting around 280. And he can play pretty much every position. So even though Sanchez got injured, it's not like we're losing an outfielder because Maton can play every spot in the outfield. This is going to be a really challenging 3-game set against Boston. They have a strong starting rotation, and their lineup has been the best in Major League Baseball so far this year. We have to play with Jonathan Cannon. We have to feel what it's like to use a 93 overall pitcher as we lose the first game 4-0. A no-show from the offense. Noah Schultz was fairly solid. Now, his season has not gone well either. His ERA is hovering around 7. And he's had some bad starts this year. Allowed 6 runs against Toronto in less than 3 innings in his previous outing. So he's got to get it together or else he might get sent down to the minors. And I think one of the few good things about last year is a lot of the guys who we needed to play well, a lot of the youngsters, they did. But that hasn't been the case this year. Montgomery already got sent down. Noah Schultz is struggling so far. Of course, remember, we wanted to sign Willie Castro in the offseason, and I feel like we're missing out quite a bit. He leads the AL in batting average, hitting over 350, including 444 over his last 12 games. This Boston team mashes the baseball. I mean, they just crush it. Of their starters, they've got multiple players hitting above 350, 5 guys hitting above 300. Jonathan Cannon is in for it. His last 3 starts have been really good. His ERA currently sits at 2.16, whip below 1. He was inconsistent last year, and now he's really starting to show the flashes, probably because he's a 93 overall. Willie Castro up the middle, singles into center. We liked Castro given his offensive stability and his defensive versatility, but what I did not expect is a 350 hitter. Rafael Devers now launches this ball into right center, and that one is not coming back. A 2-run blast for the big fella, Rafael Devers, and the Boston Red Sox strike early. That is his 7th of the year, tied for 2nd in the AL, only trailing Kyle Schwarber, who has 3 more than him at 10. Tristan Casas now, the D1 yapper, sends this one into left center. A 69, nice, mile-an-hour blooper goes for a hit. A slow start for Cannon, who's only allowed 2 earned runs in his last 3 starts combined. 7 innings pitched in each of them, only allowed 2 earned runs. He's already allowed 2 today, though, as Alex Bregman strikes out. It's like the unstoppable force. This lineup meets the immovable object, being Cannon, and so far, it's been the Boston lineup getting the better of him. Wild pitch! That'll advance the runner, even though Casas is slow as molasses. He's now in scoring position, though, for Connor Wong, who had a career year last year coming from the Mookie Betts trade a while back. Count is full now for Wong, and he draws a walk. The struggles continue for Jonathan Cannon. He's now led up 4 base runners so far. The one weak link in this lineup for the Red Sox this season has been Trevor Story, hitting .71. Why had they not called up Christian Campbell yet as he swings at the outside cutter? Story only hit 158 last season. His OPS was in the 400s. I don't know what else they need to see from him. Nonetheless, a big start for Boston. 2-run homer by Rafael Devers, and some early run support for the young righty Brian Bayo, who's had a solid season. The 26-year-old Dominican arm had a really good year last year. Best season of his career, ERA in the mid-3s. This year, ERA hovering around the mid-3s as Kyle Schwarber goes down on the sinker. His 10 home runs not only lead the AL, but they lead all of baseball. Pete Alonso the closest with 9. Luis Robert's average has gone down all the way to 300 as he whiffs on the slider. His plate discipline, of course, has improved tremendously since the start of this series, but not on that play as we move into the second. Nelly Taylor hitting .364 will get things started for the Sox, and he goes down looking on the sweeper. Nice pitch by Cannon, looking to get into a groove after a pretty slow start. Adam Duvall now up for Boston, hitting .313. Behind 1-2, he goes down on the cutter. That'll send us to the bottom half of the frame. Brian Ramos will get things started for the White Sox. Count is full, and he will go down looking. Ramos has hit the ball so well this year, but the walk rate is lower than a season ago. The strikeout rate is higher, but it's hard to complain with how well he's been smoking it. Kyle Teal, the former Red Sox top prospect, up the middle with a single. former first-rounder for the Sox. They used him in the Garrett Crochet deal, a trade that's been a massive win for them. He has a WAR of 7 since the trade. That leads all pitchers. Hosey rips this one into left, 109 off the bat. Cody Hosey was hitting 120 coming into the episode, but he had the 3-hit game against Minnesota, and that level of production is carried over. He's playing really well as of late. 2 on, 1 away. Akil Baddoo goes down on the circle change. Baddoo, of course, had that great month of August with his last year, but was equally bad in September and then the spring. Bobby Dalbec, another former Red Sox, singles into center. That will score a run, and the White Sox are on the board as it is now 2-1. Dalbec, another guy who the Red Sox once upon a time had high hopes for, obviously didn't really work out there. As there's 2 on, 2 away for Nick Maton, 1 for 3 in his first game back. That one goes into right, and we are tied at 2. The offense with a nice response here in this second, as this one is all knotted up. Emmanuel Rivera now up for Chicago. Full count, 2 on, 2 away. Swing and a miss on the fastball, clocking in at 96 by Brian Bayo, who did struggle in that inning, allowing a pair, as that will bring us into the third. Rafael Devers had the homer earlier for the Red Sox. Count is full, and he will draw a walk. Cannon being cautious with him, knowing how dangerous Rafael Devers is. 2 away now for Alex Bregman, behind 1-2, and he chases the sweeper. This looks a lot more like the Jonathan Cannon, who allowed 2 runs in 21 innings over his last 3, against some good lineups, no less. Houston, Detroit, and then to a lesser extent, Toronto. Bottom 3. Kyle Schwarber does it again! Launches this ball into right center. This one is way out of here, 434 feet. As Schwarber sends it into the seats. His 11th of the year. Another former Boston Red Sox. He was here for a couple of months after the 2021 trade deadline. How many former Red Sox does our team have? Goddamn. Nonetheless, what a swing by Schwarber, who's hitting a home run pretty much every 8 at-bats or so. That is a ridiculous rate, and the crazy thing is the rest of his numbers aren't even that impressive. The walk rate is the lowest it's been of his entire career. The average has been shaky. The RBIs aren't great other than the home runs he's hitting, but the dude is mashing the ball. As Brian Ramos draws a walk, good at bat there. That'll bring up Cody Hosey. Base hit earlier, a 109-mile-an-hour single, and here he draws a walk. His average to start the day was 120. Now it's 267, and his plate discipline's been really good as well this year. Akil Baddoo with 2 away up the middle, deflected by Castro, scooped over to Bregman, who throws out Baddoo at first. Another solid inning, though. Kyle Schwarber puts the White Sox ahead 3-2 with the solo shot. Moving into the fourth, the catcher, Connor Wong, on the ground. Dalbec fields it cleanly. Throw to first is off the mark. They're going to call that one a throwing error. It looked online to me. I kind of thought Rivera dropped it, but it is an E6 for Bobby Dalbec. Runner goes for second. Throw from Story is a high one. He timed it well, but the throw is offline. So the runner has made it to second off of 2 bad defensive plays. Jonathan Cannon not at fault at all. We'll see if he can get out of the jam. 7, 8, 9 hitters up. Trevor Story goes down on the sinker. I mean, I really don't get it. Christian Campbell is playing well in AAA. He was good in the minors last year. Marcelo Myers hitting .350 in AAA. What about him? Why are these guys not on the Major League roster? Inning comes to a close. Luis Robert hauls in the fly ball, and we end up getting out of the jam despite the fact that the defense allowed them to get the early runner at second base. Still 3-2. Nick Maton clubs this one into right center. He is 2 for 2. As that one will roll to the wall. Maton walks into second base with a double, and the White Sox get a runner on with 1 away. Maton, of course, had that red-hot start after he got called up last year. Cooled off over the last couple of months, but I wouldn't mind another hot start again. Emmanuel Rivera hits this one high and deep into right center. Has some carry at the track. It is caught at the wall. I thought that one had a chance to go over, but unfortunately it does not. We would not score Nick Maton from third. Kyle Schwarber did not bring him in, and so that will bring us into the fifth. Top of the order up for the Sox. Masataka Yoshida has been a revelation for this team. All-star last year, has been great again this year, but he goes down on the fastball. Cannon has been rocking since the first inning. I mean, the Red Sox are getting nothing right now at the plate. Rafael Devers, though, has been awfully good. A home run and 2 walks in this game. Cannon is not giving him a strike. Full count, 2 away for Casas. He will draw a walk as well. Cannon is struggling to make it out of this inning as there's now 2 on, 2 away. Big spot for Alex Bregman. Gets a piece of it into left, and that one is gone. The Red Sox regain the lead as it's 5-3. We really wanted to get Cannon out of the 5th, and it's not going to happen. 2 late walks and a homer by Bregman, his 6th of the campaign, and Cannon's day comes to a close. Definitely not his best outing, although I don't think the stats are going to tell the full story. From the 2nd through almost the end of the 5th, he was fantastic, but he let up 2 in the 1st, 3 in the 5th, and ultimately when you let up 5 runs, it's not enough as a starting pitcher. So we're going to go to the bullpen. We're going to bring in Grant Holman. He's let up 4 runs so far in 8 1/3 innings. He's been solid. Not great, but certainly not bad either. 1-2, Connor Wong singles it into right. Another base runner here for the Red Sox. They're looking to add to their lead up 2, given that they could use a little more insurance with us having one of our better offensive starts. Trevor Story now averaged down to .67, and even he is getting in on the fun. Singles into left. That's 5 straight base runners who have gotten on for Boston. There were 2 outs. There was nobody on. It was 3-2. And then another collapse from both Cannon and now Grant Holman. 2 on, 2 away, 2-2. From Nelly Taylor, puts it on the ground, over to 2. Brian Ramos makes the play, and the deficit stays at 2. But not before a big home run by Alex Bregman, as the Red Sox go to the bullpen as well. Brennan Bernardino is in for Boston. The lefty's had a nice year, 2.57 ERA and 14 innings pitched already. He's been busy. He'll start with Brian Ramos. High pitch, up and away. And Ramos swings and misses at the slider. The strikeouts continue to be a little bit of an issue for him this year as we move into the 6th. Adam Duvall leads it off into left. Maton slow to get to it as it will go off the wall. Duvall looking to dig for second. Could have had a chance at a play if the throw was a little bit better. But the Red Sox get a runner in scoring position. Their offense clearly not satisfied, looking for more. And we're going to make a switch. Kyle Nelson out of the pen. The Red Sox, I believe, are going to have some lefties coming up soon. So we figure, why not bring in one of our left-handed relief pitchers? Although Willie Castro hits from both sides of the plate. With a runner at third, this one goes into right center, and that one's going to drop. Bounces over the wall for a ground rule double. Run would have scored anyway. And Boston leads 6-3. Casas now gets a hold of it. If it's fair, it's gone. And you can't forget about it. 2-run blast for Tristan Casas. And this one's starting to get ugly, as it's now 8-3. The Red Sox offense has ignited over the last couple of innings. Their 3rd homer of the game, number 7 on the year for Casas. It's no secret that this has been the best offensive team in Major League Baseball this year, and we are getting the full experience. Nelson's going to be yanked. We're going to use our 3rd separate pitcher of the inning, as it's Ignoli Paredes, our 2nd-round Rule 5 pick. Started the year off pretty poorly, but he's actually come along fairly nicely. 3.55 ERA, pitching a lot better as of recent. With 2 away, it's Bregman. Short grounder past the diving glove of Dalbec. Maton bobbles it in left. He has not had a very good game defensively. And the Red Sox get yet another base runner. Connor Wong, 1-2, chases the slider. Inning thankfully comes to a close. It's been ugly. We let up 3 in the 5th, 3 in the 6th, and the offense is looking to start a rally. Trevor Gotts will come into the game, and he gets a Akil Baddoo on the low cutter. I thought that pitch was clearly low at the zone, but I guess not. Into the 7th, Paredes remains in. Nelly Taylor up for the Sox, and this one is hit well into right. The hits are just going to keep on coming for Boston as that one bounces over the fence for a ground rule double. This game was competitive through nearly 5 innings, and since then it has just been a disaster, and it's going to get worse. Duvall up the middle. That should score Taylor. Robert with a bullet to the plate, but he is safe, and it's now 9-3 in favor of the Red Sox. Back to the top of the order. Masataka Yoshida behind 1-2. He gets a hold of this one. It goes into left center, and that one's going to travel into the gap. Should score Duvall, rounding third, heads home. It's an RBI double for Yoshida, and it is now 10-3 in favor of the Red Sox. That's now 8 runs since the start of the 5th. We're going to make another switch. We're hoping that Hayden Wisniewski is just going to be able to pitch the rest of this game, given that the deficit is now at 7. He hasn't allowed any earned runs yet this year, although Rafael Devers has had a very nice game. He's behind 1-2, and he rips this one into left center, and now it is 11-3 as the Red Sox score yet again. Bullpen implosion from the White Sox. If you thought Jonathan Cannon was a little spotty today, I mean, he certainly looks like a 93 overall compared to the pen. Casas now rips that one. That is a fair ball down the right field line. It'll roll to the corner. Casas on his high horse, heads for second. Going to be close, and he is safe. It is now 12-3. 4 runs in this inning for Boston. They have 10 runs over the last 3. As Bregman hits this one into right center. That one's going to drop for extra bases. And it is now 13-3. 5 runs here in the 7th for the Red Sox. I mean, what else am I supposed to say? This is an abomination. Connor Wanya's up. Rips it to first. Right place, right time is Rivera. Well, that was ugly. The Red Sox double their lead from 5-10 as we will move into the 8th. Runner aboard. Nelly Taylor crushes it into right. I mean, this is just batting practice at this point. It goes off the wall. Runner rounds third. Going to be a close play. He is safe. An RBI double for Nelly Taylor. And the Red Sox now lead it 14-3. Hey, it's a football score. The Patriots are beating the Bears. Average Bears offensive performance. Castro with a blooper. It goes over the head of Nick Maton. I feel like that play is a pretty perfect encapsulation of how this game has gone. Run scores. It'll be ruled a double for Willie Castro, and it is now 15-3. Rafael Devers laces it into center. Castro will be waved around. Robert with a bullet to the plate. It is not in time. The Patriots, I guess, have added a safety, and it is now 16-3. Casas up the middle. Dalbec deflects it away, and there will not be a throw to first in time. Another base runner for Boston. This is exhausting. Alex Bregman skies it high into left. Maton looks to be under it, and he will make the play. 2 more runs allowed there by Wisniewski. The plan was to have him go the entire way, but I think throwing him out there in the 9th would be cruel and unusual punishment. Luis Robert leads off the bottom of the 8th. He lines it sharply into right center. At the wall, it is gone! Luis Robert sends it into the seats, and it is 16-4. Is this the dagger? His 5th of the year. The last time we scored, it was 3-2. 14 formerly unanswered for the Red Sox, but we're not done. Kyle Teal single into center. That's Brian Ramos rounding third. Slides safely to home plate. That looked like the Trey Turner slide, where it was just so ethically beautiful to watch. 2 on, 2 away for Nick Maton, who is 2 for 3. Skies it up into left center, and we will leave 2 runners aboard, needing an 11-run comeback for the 9th. And given where this game is at, I think it's pretty obvious it's out of reach. Why waste one of our bullpen arms? Why not have a little fun for the 9th? Bobby Dalbec is on the mound for the White Sox. They're going to throw out a position player as Juan grounds it to third. Jose deflects it, and he is apparently a statue. He will not throw it to first. I don't think he would have gotten the out anyway. Trevor Story now. Big swing and a miss. Trevor Story's been so bad this year, he can't even get a hit off of Bobby Dalbec. Nelly Taylor on the ground. This could be 2. Ramos pump fake. He knew he wasn't going to get the out, so he'll just go to first. There's no way our bullpen is this bad, but the only guy who's about to get a scoreless inning is Bobby Dalbec. Well, it looks like even he will not, because Adam Duvall sends it off the wall. Hey, that rhymed. Gonna go for a double, and the Red Sox now lead it 17-5. You know it's embarrassing when we've had pretty much all of our relievers pitch today, and the guy who's given the most competitive inning is Bobby Dalbec, as Yoshida goes down on the curveball. No lie, like, no BS, that pitch was absolutely filthy. Like, unironically, if that was a regular pitch from a regular pitcher, that would still be a beaut. I guess we might need to look into this Bobby Dalbec pitching thing because he's an upgrade over the goofballs who we already have in the bullpen. Bottom 9, runner aboard, 2 away for Ramos, and he will fly this one into foul territory. Looks like Taylor will be under it. He makes the play, and the game is finally over. Thank God. That went way longer than it needed to be, but the Red Sox just kept hitting the ball. They scored 15 runs over the last 5 innings to win it 17-5. They had 27 base runners today, 22 hits, 5 walks, 7 batters with multiple hits. They now have, I think, 6 guys hitting over 300. They have like 4 guys in their lineup hitting over 350 now, and that doesn't even account for Jarren Duran, who's third amongst qualified AL hitters in batting average, who didn't even play. Jonathan Cannon, meanwhile, was not great, but compared to the bullpen, he looked like Nolan Ryan. The only good relief inning was from Bobby Dalbec. So we're going to simulate the rest of the month, hoping we do not continue to get this embarrassed. We've got 3 games against the Orioles, who are even worse than us. They're 8-17. Look at their offensive numbers, 212 average. Their OPS is in the mid-600s. They have been awful this year, and then we will get through a series against the Royals. So here in this last game against Boston, they haven't scored 17 runs, but we are in danger of getting swept. Runner on second, 1 away. Monasterio into right. That one will be caught, and we're going to hold the tying run aboard. No reason to try to risk it. Looking to avoid the sweep and the 5-game losing streak, but Maton checks his swing. Edwin Uceta gets the save, and the Red Sox sweep the White Sox, winning it 3-2. Boston continues their great season. Solid start from Sandoval. The offense did not give us enough in this game, although Brian Ramos went deep. Pretty good start by Bailey Falter, though, despite the loss. So that'll now bring us into this series against the Orioles, who won 100 games last year. They got better during the offseason. I really don't get why this team is so bad. But we have a chance to win this game and snap our losing streak. 2 on, 2 away. Schwarber looks at the fastball, wanted to draw the walk, and now the count is full. He's a pretty solid clutch hitter. I think there's certainly a chance we can make a play here. Full count pitch from the lefty, Aiken. Got him on strikes, the 92-mile-an-hour fastball. We would still walk it off, though. Bottom 10, Luis Robert with a 2-run shot. It's a shame they didn't let us play it, but we end up winning the game. Lou Bob goes 3 for 5 with the winner. I think the guy who deserves the most credit, though, is Joe Ross, who gave us 3 scoreless innings to wrap up the game, including the 10th, where they started with a runner on base. Baroa only went 3, again trying to limit his innings, and then the bullpen after him did great. We lost the last 2, though, against Baltimore, now here against Kansas City. We're up 7-6 here in the 8th, 2 on, nobody out, and Bobby Witt Jr. connects on the circle change into right center. That one is gone. 440 feet for Bobby Witt, only his 3rd of the year, and the Royals take the lead. Kansas City's been up and down this year, but certainly better than they were last year, one of the most disappointing teams in the league. Salvador Perez rips this one into the gap. That should go for extra bases. This does not look like the offense who was pretty close to us last year, and that says something. Our offense was pretty horrific. So we're going to take Holman out of the game. He allowed 4 earned runs without recording a single out. Kyle Nelson will come in to replace him. His season started off really well, but has gone really downhill really fast. Righties are hitting 400 against him, although he does get Vinny Pasquantino to go down on the outside slider. That was a very nice pitch. TJ Friedl now up for the Royals, and this one is sent into left. That one should go for extras, and the Royals are going to make it double figures as it's 10-7. Another bullpen implosion. We started the inning with the lead. Now the Royals are up by 3, still with more room to add some extra runs. Man on third as Ernie Clement crushes it into left, and it is 12-7. This bullpen was obviously really bad last year, but it's been another level of horrid this year, and it's unfortunate because I feel like the bullpen on paper is way better than it was a year ago. But these guys have been just horrific. Boozer's ERA starts with a 7. Holman's starts with a 7. Nelson's starts with a 7. Inole Paredes sits in the 5. Penn Murphy's ERA is at 7. I mean, these guys have been horrible as we get out of the inning, thankfully. Good job by Hayden Wisniewski. But the Royals, who trailed to start the 8th, are now up by 5, and they would ultimately win the game 12-7, as no runs would be scored from either team the rest of the way. This was one of the worst offenses in baseball, and they absolutely crushed it against us. Alec Marsh was horrible. He didn't make it out of the 4th. He allowed 7 runs. The offense put up the numbers needed to win this game. Lou Bob goes deep for an 8th time this year. Jonathan Cannon had another shaky start, but the bullpen around him might have been even worse. So another bad loss for the White Sox. Jesus Sanchez set to come off the injured list. We're going to send down Bobby Dahlbeck, who has not been hitting it well. Maybe we need to move him to a pitcher, though. 3-1, the Royals lead here in the 7th. Cody Hosey has a 10-game hitting streak on the line. Of course, we've seen how well he has played as of recent. As Hosey bloops this one into the opposite field, and that one's going to drop. Rounding first, heads to second. That'll score a run as he is out at second base trying to leg out a double. But the hit streak continues for Hosey. That's not the only hit streak on the line. Luis Robert sits at 11. Bottom of the 8th, 2 away. Big spot for us here in this game against Trevor Richards as he rips the first pitch, bounces it on the ground. 2 double-digit hitting streaks snapped in this episode for Luis Robert, which is unfortunate, but it's impressive that he had, a 13-game hitting streak? It snapped, and then he went right back up to 11, showing the type of season he's having. We would lose the game, though, 3-2. We would only take 1 of 4 here against the Royals as their new addition, Willie Abreu, goes deep. So does Kyle Schwarber, his 12th of the year. And again, we are still in April. Ended up winning the last game 8-4. Another good showing by the offense. We hit the ball really well in this series against the Royals, scoring a total of 19 runs. Drew Thorpe gets the win. I don't believe it. We actually let him win a game. So we're 10-21 through the first month of the year. I think the offense has actually been pretty good. And in terms of looking for players who have stood out this season, obviously there's Schwarber, who hasn't played very well over his last 10. But maybe we give him a wheel spin. Luis Robert certainly took advantage of his boosted opportunity. He's amongst the AL leaders in WAR. Brian Ramos has been a little inconsistent, but he's hitting the ball well. 6 home runs, hit nearly 300. I think the biggest surprise, and maybe the guy who we should spin, is Cody Hosey. 321. Now, he only has 1 extra base hit all year, so he's not hitting for any power. But the guy is a base hit machine. He had 2 more in the last game against Kansas City. But as good as the offense has been, the pitching has been a joke. Our entire rotation has been bad. Jonathan Cannon did not play like a 93 overall. And then the bullpen has been a joke. I mean, these guys have been awful. Our team ERA for the year is nearly 6, and we've played over 30 games. That is not a small sample size. We have allowed by far the most amount of runs in all of baseball. It's been ugly, and we're going to have to make some switches. Maybe a guy like Hagen Smith gets called up. We're going to take a look at some more guys in the minors in the next episode. Edgar Caro, I'm thinking about bringing up. Douglas Cato, I'm considering. Oswaldo Escobedo, our top draft pick, started the year slow, but he's played really well. We're probably going to do a player lock game for him in May as we really dive into how some of our top prospects are doing. We're going to make a lot of switches in terms of the pitching, possibly with this guy, Noah Schultz, whose ERA is in the mid-8s. That'll wrap up the episode, though. Let me know who would you like to see get a wheel spin, someone who's been impressive like Cody Hosey, or maybe someone like one of the pitchers who have been pretty much all equally terrible. Nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.